What is everything made of? Where did it all begin? This question has haunted humanity since the dawn of thought.
In ancient Greece, under these very skies, philosophers gathered to understand reality itself.
Demokritos held a simple stone and asked, "If I cut this in half, then again, could I do it forever?" He imagined a point where stone could not be cut further. He called this Atomos, the uncuttable. The idea survived across centuries, passed down through generations of thinkers. But for over 1,000 years it remained just an idea. No proof existed, only speculation. Then, about 350 years ago, Robert Boyle looked again at the idea of small particles. He experimented, he observed, but he could not prove atoms existed. The atom remained hidden. Years passed, decades. The atom remained a philosophy, not a science, until John Dalton. John Dalton, a humble schoolteacher, took the next crucial step. He asked, do different atoms weigh different amounts? What if atoms of the same element were identical, with the same weight, and different elements had different weights? This could explain why chemicals combine in specific ratios. Atoms simply rearranged. The idea was gaining weight, literally. Fast forward to the dawn of the 20th century. Thomson was about to find something inside the atom. Using cathode ray tubes, Thomson found something incredible. The beam was made of particles smaller than atoms. The beam bent toward positive plates, particles were negatively charged. Thus Thomson discovered Electron. He proposed the Plum pudding model, a sphere of positive charge with electrons embedded like raisins in a pudding. A few years later, in Manchester, England, Ernest Rutherford designed an experiment to test Thomson's model. They fired alpha particles, positively charged helium nuclei, at a thin strip of gold foil. According to Thomson's model, the alpha particles should pass straight through, and most did, just as expected. But then, something impossible happened. 1 in every 20,000 alpha particles bounced straight back. It bounced back! The deflection is massive. It's as if you fired a naval shell at tissue paper and it Nucleus! He deduced that the atom must have a tiny, positively charged center. The atomic nucleus had been discovered. The atom was mostly empty space, with nearly all its mass concentrated in this tiny nucleus. To understand the scale, if an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be only a pea at the center. This nucleus is made of smaller particles, protons and neutrons. But what are their properties? The proton carries a positive charge. Its mass is about 1836 times that of an electron. The neutron has no charge, it's neutral, but it has nearly the same mass as a proton. Orbiting the nucleus are electrons, negatively charged, incredibly light, just 1/1836th of a proton's mass. How do we know this? Experiments show electron beams deflect toward positive plates. Opposite charges attract. Proton beams deflect away from positive plates. Like charges repel. This confirms their positive charge. But a beam of neutrons passes straight through. No deflection means no charge. They are truly neutral. Notice the proton beam deflects much less. Protons are about 2,000 times heavier than electrons. Mass matters. Here's a summary. Electrons are tiny and negative, protons are heavy and positive, neutrons are heavy and neutral. The number of protons decides the element. 1 proton is hydrogen, 2 is helium, 3 is lithium, and so on. In a neutral atom, the number of electrons equals the number of protons. The charges balance perfectly. Tip is stable, ready for manipulation.
Initiating approach.
Atomic lattice is responding. He suggested we could make tiny machines from just a few hundred atoms. At the time, it seemed like science fiction. His idea, arrange atoms one by one to build machines smaller than anything we'd ever made. Using special microscopes, scientists can now move individual atoms on surfaces.
They're designing tiny machines that will deliver medicine exactly where it's needed. Like targeting cancer cells without harming healthy ones.
Chemists use 2 models of atom, shell model for energy levels, orbital model for where electrons probably are. In shell model, electrons exist at specific distances from nucleus in the shell. Each shell has its own energy level. The orbital model shows where electrons are likely to be. S orbitals are spheres, p orbitals are dumbbell shapes. From Demokritos to Feynman, from philosophy to nanotechnology, each scientist built on the ideas of those before them. Today, we can not only see atoms, we can move them. We can build with them. The uncuttable has been cut. Nanotechnology has already revolutionized medicine, materials, energy, and computing. This is just the beginning. And the next great idea? It might come from a student like this, looking at the world and asking why? So, what is everything made of? The answer is both simple and astonishing. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you are, is made of atoms. These tiny particles, born in the hearts of stars billions of years ago.
They are the building blocks of reality. The uncuttable, the atom.
From the ancient Greeks wondering about sand, to modern scientists building with individual atoms. Our modern world is built on this understanding. From the electricity in this screen to medicine that saves lives. It took thousands of years and countless minds to piece together this puzzle. New questions await new minds. What mysteries will the next generation of scientists unlock?
We've discovered the atom. But what about quarks? What about strings?
The question remains as powerful as ever. What are we? What is this? What is everything? Perhaps the most amazing discovery is this. We are not just made of atoms. We are the universe in awe of itself. Look up sometime. You're made of stardust, asking how the stars work. That's the most human thing of all.